Good evening, everybody. We had called the meeting to order at 6:30 and adjourned to executive session, and all members are present, and we have now returned. We have a nice treat coming up in a minute, so. Our first item of business is the approval of items by consensus. Superintendent Benton.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Nice to have an audience. We have 5 items on the consent agenda: approval of the minutes of February 8th, approval of the out-of-state field trip for Shawshene School Grade 3 to New Hampshire, acceptance of gifts from Avalon Oaks, all the beautiful furniture in the Roman House, approval of warrants FS16, FS17, FS18, FS19, G223, G412, G413, G414, G415, L39, L40, L41, L42, L43, L44, L45, L46, L47, R219, R220, R221, R222, R223, and the approval of payrolls for February 15th and February 28th.
Thank you. I could have a recommended motion, please, to approve the minutes of February 8th, 2012, the out-of-state field trip to Odeon Park? Odeon Park, and the gift of furniture from Avalon Oaks. Mrs. Bonish.
I move to approve the minutes of February 8, 2012, the out-of-state field trip to Odeon Park, and the gift of furniture from Avalon Oaks.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Marchese.
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Yeah. Just a quick question for Superintendent Ben. So the school committee only approves field trips that are out of state or overnight. I was just wondering, at a future meeting, doesn't have to be anytime soon, and it doesn't have to be verbal, could be written. I was just wondering if the school committee could be provided with a list of all the in-state field trips that the classes take, and I'm particularly interested in seeing. Comparing, grades, grade 3 versus grade 5, grade 4 versus grade 6, is there equity? And I'm also interested, since this is a Shawshene Elementary, interested in, the different sides of the town. So are the Woburn Street school students getting the same field trip opportunities as the Shawshene Elementary? So,
okay. We will be glad to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous, Linda? Thank you. Our next motion, we won't read all the warrants again. I recommend the motion to approve the warrants as read by the superintendent. Mr. Marchese.
I move to approve the warrants as read.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Hayes? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous, Linda. Thank you. And our last item is the move to approve the payrolls of 2/15/12 and 2/28/12. Mr. Marchese.
I move to approve the payrolls of 2/15/12 and 2/28/12.
Second, Mr. Hayes. Thank you. All those in favor? 6 in favor. All those abstaining? 1 abstaining. Yeah, 1 abstaining. Okay, thank you. Our next item of business is the superintendent's report.
Thank you. We're going to jump ahead and do the first item on the superintendent's report this evening. I'm thrilled to introduce assistant principal at the middle school, Hope Doran, and one of our students, Shannon Sullivan, who was specifically chosen this year to be part of the governor's Project 351. And I'm going to turn it over to them in 1 second, and they have a little PowerPoint presentation. So you and I can move over to the sides, but this is an initiative that the governor started last year, and it sounds like it was absolutely fabulous, so we're thrilled to welcome you here and hear a little bit about it.
Thank you. You want us to go up there? Stay here. Project 351 was started by Deval Patrick, his first year in office, and he had this idea of getting all the kids from all the cities in town in Massachusetts together, 1 8th grader from every city in town, to come together for a day of service on Martin Luther King weekend. And 351 is the number of communities in Massachusetts. So that's where that comes from. And principals are asked to pick a student, 1 8th grader, based on their service, their ethics, humility, how they treat other people, someone that kind of stood out as a leader in their schools to represent them. And Ms. McMiniman, the principal at the middle school, Mr. Sheehan, the other assistant, and I sat down. And when we sat down, we all came up with Shannon's name first. So we all said, Shannon Sullivan, kind of in unison. She just really stood out to us. She's someone in our school community that's very, very positive. She's a very good role model towards other kids and truly kind of embraces what we would like all students to do, and that she's someone that's very giving to everyone in our school and really kind of stands out for that. So that was why we picked her. And if you can go to the next slide, when we went, that's a picture of Shannon. You can see her kind of a little bit in the front near Duval. She got an opportunity to meet him at the community site, and at all the sites that we went to that day, he did come and participate a little bit, and we all had the opportunity to meet him, which was really great. And part of our experience, we got a tour of the State House, which was really neat. And this was the Great Hall of Flags. It has one of the flags of all the cities and towns in Massachusetts. I could not find Wilmington while I was there. I was trying to find it. I don't know if you saw it, Shannon. No, we were looking for it, but there were so many of them. And in that great hall, we had some very great meetings. We had Mayor Menino come and speak. Governor Deval Patrick spoke. There was a first grade class from a school in Dorchester that came and recited Martin Luther King's speech and kind of got us pumped up for the day. There were some students from City Year that sang to us on the way in and got us ready for our day of service. So that was really, really neat. And this is just a picture of us in the Great Hall, and he kind of asked students questions, and Shannon answered a couple of them and got up on the microphone that day. And these are the 4 locations that students could be sent to. They didn't know their location until that day. So we went in on a bus with students from this area. You know, Lowell, Haverhill, Woburn, North Reading, Stoneham. We got to meet some kids locally. And then when we went into the State House, we met kids from all over the state, from cities and towns, some of which I'd never ever heard of. So that was a really neat experience. Of course, I said, what's your middle school look like? What's your schedule like? I was asking kids a lot of questions like that. And these are the 4 locations kids could go to. Cradles to Crayons was one of them, and they helped to kind of organize Cradles to Crayons. They have different things for families in need that need supplies for their children. Greater Boston Food Bank, they helped organize some food. We both went to the Dorchester Boys and Girls Club, and some other kids went to MLK Towers, and they painted murals for the elderly and kind of decorated. At Boys and Girls Club, Shannon and I were both there, but we weren't together, so we both had kind of different experiences there. It was great. My group, I was with a group of kids that at the beginning of the day did not talk at all, were very shy and reserved, and we were assigned to paint a toddler room together and redo it. So we had, to paint one wall purple, one wall yellow. The beginning of the day, the kids were very, very quiet, and I talked to some of them about their communities. By the end of the day, they were exchanging emails, exchanging phone numbers, talking about what sports they played. So it was really nice to see them come together and serve, and it was a really, really great day. It was a long day. We started early in the morning. We got back around 6:30 or 7 at night. It was a great opportunity and really, really nice to work with all the other kids. We're supposed to have a reunion this spring, so we're kind of waiting for that to get all the kids back together. And I'll let Shannon kind of talk a little bit about her experience.
I had a lot of fun at the 351 project because right when we walked in, they gave us donuts and muffins. They gave us breakfast. And we got to talk to the governor, and we got these t-shirts for free. I met people from all over the state, and we all got along really well because we were all around the same age. Well, I met most of my friends at the Boys and Girls Club, and we made scarves for babies and toddlers out of just fabric. We turned on the radio, and everybody was dancing and singing all together, and it was really cool because whenever we took breaks, people would teach us games and teach us weird games that I've never heard of before, like the vegetable playoff. It was really cool. And I got to learn about the different clubs and organizations at other schools. And I participate in the drama club at my school, and a lot of them did too. And so we got to talk about the plays that we've done in the past or the plays that we're doing now. And by the end, we all got each other's phone numbers, and we still commute today over Facebook, and it was just a great experience, and I can't wait for the reunion in June.
Shannon, why do you think you were chosen?
I was chosen, well, I think I was chosen because I think I set a good example in my school. I try to be confident, and I try to be a good role model for the younger kids in the other grades.
Can you tell the school committee just a little bit about some of the other activities you're involved in, because you're involved in lots of activities. I understand you're in the play?
Yes. This year we're doing a Dr. Seuss musical. And I also participate in SAD, which is Students Against Destructive Decisions, and Student Council. And in Student Council, we kind of just decide on different dances that we're going to have, different fundraisers. Like we've done Cradles to Crayons before in our school to give coats away to people who need them.
And you have some guests in the audience. Would you like to introduce them?
Oh, it's my dad, Kenneth Sullivan, on the right, and Al Berrien is my grandfather on the left.
Well, we want to congratulate them,
nice.
too, for producing such a wonderful young woman, and thank you for bringing her tonight. So thank you so much.
Shannon, did you, this write-up, had you written this?
Yes.
For anyone, I believe it was in the newspaper too recently. That's what caught my eye when I first saw it. Your writing is former English teacher. Excellent, excellent. To think that our 8th graders are writing up to this level, that really impressed me. You did a great job. Does anyone else from the committee have anything? All set?
Yeah.
Mr. Hayes.
2 quick questions. What character are you playing in Seussical the Musical?
I am playing the Sour Kangaroo.
Okay, I'll look for you. And I got to be honest, I'm not too familiar with the play, but I'll look for you. And in your write-up, you wrote, it was interesting to hear about other schools and the different programs that they provide for their students. And I want to put you on the spot. I apologize, but was there anything that you heard about that's offered at another school that you wish was offered at the middle school in terms of an after-school activity or a club or something like that?
I don't think so. I'm not sure of any of the other ones. We mostly discussed about the drama clubs and the different things that they did.
Sure. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And in a way, I probably shouldn't ask this question. I'm hoping it's the right answer. Next year, where do you plan on attending high school?
Wilmington High School.
Yes.
We're very
Right.
sad she's leaving us.
No. Thank you. We're so happy
Thank
that
you.
Dad and Grandfather came to visit too. It's nice to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you for having us.
Round of applause.
Go back and do that, and then I'll do the rest of my student report.
Kelly Wilcox we have with us tonight. So now we have 2 special students here, which is really great. Would you like to give your student representative report from the high school?
Sure.
Thank you, Kelly.
Well, thank you for having me. 2 of our sports teams recently did well at playoffs. The girls' varsity basketball team played well, and the boys' varsity hockey team beat Winthrop 4-2 on Monday, and will be playing Franklin at 3:30 on Sunday at the Garden. The one act was awarded audience favorite at Drama Fest. Model UN did well at their recent conference. DECA members went to states this past weekend and did very well. They're sending 4 students to Salt Lake City for internationals in May. Last week, the class of 2013 hosted the prom fashion show. And last night, the high school hosted their annual pre-prom assembly and was a huge success. This upcoming Friday, we're having the junior prom, and next week, spring sports are starting.
Wow, thank you. A lot of activities going on. Any questions or comments?
No questions?
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
We won't hold you up. Okay, the superintendent's report, we'll move on.
I had just 5 other items. Just a personnel report. We hired a replacement for the security monitor that resigned for reasons of getting another position. Jason McNulty just joined us. I thought it was, you might be interested in seeing some of the warrant articles by petition for the 2012 annual town meeting. Interesting list.
I think it tells us, too, we all better be prepared to be at the entire town meeting this May 5th.
The included in my report is the Roselli Clark and Associates report on the fiscal 11 end of the year report. Report on Global Child, and lastly, the reminder and invitation for MASC Day on the Hill, March 27th, and April needs to know if any of you are attending so she can register you.
Okay.
So please let April know.
Does anyone have any comments on any of these items?
Well, I plan on attending Day on the Hill, and I will let April know. Regarding the Global Child, so we're provided with the enrollment figures. Did they do any sort of like satisfaction survey or something like that? Would the school committee be privy to that?
We are not privy to it. They're just really using our space. It's a private program, but I'm actually, I know Leslie's used it before. Did they do surveys, parent surveys, at the end of the term? Do you remember?
I don't think so.
I mean, we're basing our decision on continuing, with them based on the enrollment, but there's other factors that go into that.
Oh, I take it back. I'm sorry. We did have a little bit of a small, I keep thinking everything's online. Sorry. We did have a small survey that we filled out at the end, yes.
And just based on your own personal knowledge, did the parents who had kids in the class, they seemed all satisfied with the program?
I did enjoy the program very much. I unfortunately, I didn't put my daughter in this year only because I felt like I wish they had another section that took her a little further.
Right.
But it's a great program.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to old business. The superintendent's evaluation. I had given you a copy to look over, and I believe it corresponds to what we had decided on. We will fill this out for March 28th. One of the things that we have to do, we have to keep in mind, this is a totally open process, and so if you have anything written on this paper, it has to be stated in open session. So we can't pick and choose. You can't have 3 or 4 things written down and decide, oh, I already heard that from somebody else, so I'm not going to say that. We can't do that. Under the new state law and the open meeting law, we have to say, you have to put everything you've put down here has to be stated in the open session. Okay? And you'll notice that we had agreed we're going to do summary comments. We're not doing A, B's, and C's, or 1, 2s, and 3s, or outstays, or anything like that. In order for us to know more specifically, I had asked the superintendent to give us I wouldn't call it a survey. She gave us information on each of the items and what has been accomplished this year, because it's so much that we really wouldn't be able to just pick it out and choose for ourselves. So definitely you can use that. And if you have any questions or something you don't understand, feel free to call the superintendent and ask her for information. It will be for informational purposes that you might not understand something, so to clarify or to give you information, that you could do that. Okay? Everybody all set on that?
Can I just add one thing?
Yes, please.
I also enclosed the implementation guide for the superintendent evaluation that is going to be required starting, for this district in 2013, part of the Race to the Top. So you can see the lovely new process that they're putting all of us through.
And I don't know if anybody else had a chance to read this. I'm like, I can't believe this. That so many times, I know people get upset that we have money issues that are put on us, unfunded mandates. To me, this is another unfunded mandate, but time-wise, for the time of all of us, it's really incredible what we're going to be expected to do for evaluating a superintendent. And I just, if there's any place, we have our liaison, our legislative liaison, and Day on the Hill. If you find anything when you're there, Robert, maybe you could, after we've looked at this, we as a group might come to a conclusion that, this is absurd. So we might want to express our feelings about this on a higher level. Mr. Marchese?
Mrs. Benton, you had indicated that this guy that you just given to us is part of the Race to the Top legislation was passed 2 years ago. It's my understanding that the state of Massachusetts has given $250 million to implement Race to the Top. So this is not necessarily unfunded. We should be getting something, and I think we should harass our legislators to say that we should get something, because the state of Massachusetts paid $250 million to do this.
We voted not to participate in Race to the Top. We would have been allowed to get $40,000 over 2 years, and I think you made a very good decision in not getting involved in Race to the Top because of all the I have to say this nicely, but all the work, the paper and forms that need to be filled out, it wasn't worth the $40,000 that they were going to give us. I happen to think that this is not going to go smoothly in Massachusetts, so I do think that you should complain if you don't think it's a good tool.
Okay.
I think the evaluation of the teachers is another one that we're going to be involved in. We have to negotiate in. I mean, I was at a meeting today. Steve Finnegan, who's the lawyer for the MASC, did the presentation, and it's not going to go easy. And I think teachers are going to be looking for something in exchange for the new evaluation tool.
My only follow-up question is, I do remember that vote 2 years ago, we decided not to do it. So if we decide not to participate, then why are we being forced to implement?
Because the board is saying if we did participate, it would have been, we'd have to do it this September. We get an extra year.
So now they're forcing it on
Yes.
us, something that we decided not to.
Yeah.
So, but in that same regard, that we should receive something, because now they're forcing on something that we decided not to participate in.
I would really like at some point, and perhaps we're going to have to do it in September, but if we have any information that Robert's been able to, oh no, forget it. Is the Day on the Hill? Oh, it's the day before our meeting. Okay, it's the day before our meeting. Should anything come up and Robert have overheard anything or any discussions, he could let us know while we're doing the superintendent's evaluation. We could do it at the end. But I think that we should educate ourselves as much as possible, and then, we've never done this, but we could take a formal vote, a formal stand, and send it in, and say this is how we feel about it.
I would also actually follow up with that, and as Robert is our official representative to our legislators, is have him write a letter on our behalf stating our disapproval of this, because we did vote against it, and we don't think this is a good idea, based on the decision that we made 2 years ago.
I love writing letters.
I think that would be great, and then you can follow up with that letter when you visit and date the Hill. Say, by the way, that letter I writ to you on, March 15th, informing you of our disagreement of this. Let's
Well,
talk
if he
about
is
that.
writing the letter on behalf of
Yeah.
all of us, we should see it before he sends it off.
Yeah, no,
That's the
I'm
only
just,
thing,
yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Bill.
So this is the, we're looking at this is the model system for educator evaluation?
Yes.
So can't we depart from this model if we don't want to use it?
With restrictions, there's very
As
strict
long as we achieve
restrictions for
certain
departing.
criteria, right?
Yes,
So, I mean, we need to make it our own somehow.
right. That's gonna be that's the tricky part. They put on restrictions for you veering off course, so, yeah. Right, so this will be good after everybody has read it, and we're all more up to date on this. We can work on this. So that sounds good. Thank you. Our next item, new business. Mrs. Benton.
It's the 2013-2014 draft calendar that I will bring up to you at the next meeting to vote on. Traditionally, the school committee plans 2 years ahead because of parents planning vacations.
Am I reading this right, that kindergarten's going to start that first week of school? There's a little K right there. Is that what that means? K, kindergarten start date.
That's incorrect. Okay.
Yeah,
It should be the
it's
third.
on
All right,
both of
thank
them.
you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
we'll fix it.
Okay, we don't vote on it this time anyway, we vote at the next meeting, so we'll bring that in.
And the one that, I hope you got the one I emailed to you, because the 30th
Yeah,
is a
there's two of
no-school
them.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the second one. So it's the one that says the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and then an X under Friday.
Correct.
That's the correct one.
So
Sorry, I
we're,
was going to mention this before, and then I forgot. As far as approvals go, on your letter transmitting the superintendent's evaluation form,
Yes.
Ms. Kane, you said you wanted approval of the form at the March 14th meeting. So do
Oh.
we need to vote for an approval on the form, or what do you want?
No,
What do you
our
want?
consensus discussion
Okay,
was, yeah.
so we already
was
had
it. Yeah, just to make things.
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay, that's that one. Yes, Marquise.
I just have a comment regarding the calendar, as I always do every year. Just in terms of, because this year we actually had our formal calendar committee, and some recommendations actually went to the strategic planning committee. And I was just wondering if the strategic planning committee had time to review those, or if that's gone forward, or any discussion?
Go into the Strategic Planning Committee, which is meeting, subcommittee's meeting next week.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Next item is the official approval.
I'm requesting, our English language learner population has increased to 33 students, and I'm requesting permission to hire a .5 ELL teacher to assist Sue McDonald, who is really doing an outstanding job. As you know, we have a coordinated program review this spring, and it is on ELL, and I know that we are going to get probably marked down because of our student-teacher ratio. I'd like to try and start rectifying that by hiring a .5 position. We do have funds in the budget from our, we get credit for E-rate, and we have funds there that could be used to pay for this position.
Do you have any questions or comments? Would that be as soon as you could find someone? Can I ask that first?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
What
Mr.
is the state recommended student-teacher ratio for ELL students?
Well, they're recommended 2 hours. I mean,
It's not an easy ratio.
it's not easy. It's 2 hours of instruction a day per student who is at the level 1. So it's all over the place, and our students come at different levels.
Sure.
The problem is Sue McDonald could handle this if everybody was in one building,
Right.
but it's 8 buildings.
Sure. And just something.
22 is what we've always gone with in this district.
22
Students to one teacher.
So we're kind of at that halfway point. Just interesting, I looked at the census data for Wilmington, and in 2000, we were 96.3% white. In 2010, the latest census, we're 93.5% white. So we're becoming more diversified, which is great, but it certainly has some negative unintended consequences. And certainly this, additional, unfunded mandates regarding ELL is certainly one of them. So
Exactly.
good news, bad news.
Any other questions on this? No? Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to allow the superintendent to hire and .5 ELL teacher. Do we have a motion? Mr. Hayes?
I'll be the guy that makes the motion to hire the .5 ELL teacher.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mrs. Bonish? Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. Unanimous,
Thank
Linda.
you.
Thank you. Let's go. Do we have any delegations this evening? No? Okay. Correspondence?
None tonight.
None tonight, all right. Future meeting dates and agenda items, we have March 28th, when we'll be doing the superintendent's evaluation. We'll probably keep the agenda light if there isn't too much more over that. April 11th and April 25th. And April 25th is not April vacation, is that correct? We miss
Correct.
April vacation,
Correct.
so we will have both meetings in April, okay, because we don't meet the vacation. All right.
Got a question?
Oh, Mr. Marchese.
No, not a question, just a note. The April 25th meeting, I will not be in attendance. I have a previous commitment that I have to attend to, so just informing you now, I will not be there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Marchese. Oh, yes, please. I'm sorry, I skipped over other subcommittee reports, and we have one, so I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's quite all right. Just on behalf of the Wilmington Education Foundation, not to forget, we're having the annual vendor fair Friday, March 30th, 7 to 11. And we're going to have we already have a lot of great donations coming our way. If anybody has any interest, any great things they want to make or anything like that, we're always happy to take donations. You can always email me. I have it, all the information is on the website. A couple other things is we now, if you want to find the WEF site, you can go directly to the Wilmington K-12 site. We have been excited to give out 2 curriculum. We gave out 2 curriculum grants recently, and we're waiting for the educators' exploration grants to be coming in, I believe, in the next week.
Yep, end of the week.
End of the week. So if you want to look at the details of that, please go online to the website under WEF. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Hayes?
High School Building Committee meeting tomorrow night, so that's for people, that's Thursday, March 15th, 6:30 at Town Hall, Room 9. Should be an interesting meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Anyone else? I think we're all caught up. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Dr. Quick?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Mr. Hayes. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Linda. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Aye.